So, is it just me who thinks Prince William is work-shy? A slacker who'll do anything other than knuckle down to the job he was born to do? Look, I'm a monarchist, at least I am when it comes to the Queen, Prince Philip and Princess Anne, because those guys work incredibly hard. But William doesn't. There's only one royal family he fits into, and it's not the one that lives in Buckingham Palace. It's this one, Jim and Barbara's, where the Cambridges would feel right at home watching telly in their crowns. The truth is, William does less than nearly every senior royal, except his wife, who doesn't do much either. And never mind all that nonsense about how he's a devoted dad who wants to spend every minute with his family, because every dad wants that. But the reason I'm cross with our idle prince this particular week is because we're told he's jacking in his part-time job as an air ambulance pilot to do, well, not very much. A source says he doesn't want to do too many royal engagements for fear of shoving his dad, Prince Charles, out of the royal limelight. So there you have it. Will's making excuses up front for the fact he won't be pulling his weight this year again.
Well, unlike you, I got to know
I knew you were going to say
the Prince fairly well because I was, when I was chairman of the Football Association, and he's the president. And I have to say, my experience of him is totally different to yours. Or to the one you haven't had. My experience is...
We don't all have the pleasure of meeting Roy.
No, my experience is that, I thought he was an incredibly bright, intelligent, thoughtful guy.
Didn't say he wasn't.
And I also think our experience in the FA was any time we asked him to do anything, he did it. For instance, you remember that suddenly at the last minute, after the disasters in Paris... we were playing England playing
Which disaster?
France. Well, after the shootings
in the stadium.
England were playing France. We contacted him and said, "Would you come and lead the whole process of saying, we sympathise with you." He was there like that. He was like that the whole time.
That's football. And that's something he likes. That's a hobby. That's not.
No, it's not a hobby. It's not a hobby. Every time I saw him come once as a hobby when Aston Villa were in the semi-final of the cup, and he got a box just to come and see Aston Villa, and then he came to the final, of course, and they lost 4-0.
This is football. This is not his job.
This is a
guy who was born to be king. Can I just read you out some of the royal engagements for last year? The Queen, 90 years old, 332. The Duke of Edinburgh, 95, 219 engagements. Prince of Wales, Prince Charles, 530. So how Will thinks he's ever going to overshadow Charles, God only knows. Duchess of Cambridge, 140. The Duke, 188. That's nothing. That's nothing. No. And also, let me just say, a guy called the Duke of Gloucester, who I've never heard of. Have you? He did 17 more than 17 jobs more than Will's, and then the man.
But wait, Carole, that's one every other day, and then strip out weekends.
Necessarily.
It's probably
it's not. You can do 3 in a day. You can do 3 little visits in a day, 4 visits in a day.
He was working for the air ambulance a couple of days a week, and he's got 2 small children. What is the problem?
No, he's got 2 small. Everyone's got 2 small children.
There's nothing else you can accuse Prince William of apart from idleness.
Okay. Well, I can. Okay, sure.
I think you're looking at this the wrong way, Carole. I'm not a massive fan of the monarchy, as you probably know. I have to say, I respect the Queen because she works incredibly hard, and at her age, I think it's remarkable. But I think you're just looking at this the wrong way. I don't think the point of the royals is how hard they work or not,
I do.
No, it's not. In fact, the last British Attitudes survey found that the royal family have increased their popularity to 74% of the population. And do you know why? William and Kate's wedding and the birth of 2 royal babies. Nothing to do with how many engagements they carry out. People like the royal family because of the point of the royal family, because of the fact of them. They're symbols, they attract tourists, they play a constitutional role. They're part of our British identity and nostalgia.
Kate's got great hair. Listen,
Kate
has got great hair.
She might be about to be on stage
than anything William does.
But the other point is this. As families, they've got a difficult background, haven't they? Most of them divorced.
Yes.
He was determined that wasn't going to be the case. He was determined he was going to get to know his kids. He was going to bring them up properly. We all remember that picture of Prince Charles shaking, as a little boy, shaking hands with his mother after she came back after 3 months.
Okay,
terrible picture. What he wanted was to have a family, and to bring up and make sure he was part of it. Now that is today's man.
Okay, I get. Are you saying he should remain in uniform? No, in a way, I think it's a good look for him.
I get all of that. I get that this guy we all had a choice about what we wanted to do in life. He didn't have a choice. He had to. So he lives life in a cage, but it's a gilded cage. And in exchange for going out to work, for glad-handing people, for making visits, for doing his charity work, he gets to live in mansions and palaces and has access to multi-millions.
Jealousy.
It's not fueled by jealousy. Of course it's not fueled by. But I'll tell you what, if you ask...
You've just laid yourself bare.
This is a guy who never has to worry about how he's going to pay the mortgage, is he going to get made redundant.
But let's just ask, who'd swap your life for his? Because I wouldn't.
I would, in a nanosecond.
Well, you must have a pretty sad life.
Well, I probably have compared to him, yes.
I mean, would you?
Never.
Not in a million.
Okay, so you mentioned, this guy is 35. I think
you said it yourself. He was born to it. He can't escape his destiny.
I think he's been given a lot of leeway in his life.
Probably writing this sort of stuff. The whole chasing him. Well, you're part of it. You're part of that sort of tabloid.
Yes, I am.
You spent your life chasing him. Same as you did to his parents.
I'm sorry, we were never allowed to chase him.
No, exactly.
That's the truth.
That's what you don't like about it.
So my point is, he's been allowed to live in way that others haven't. He's been allowed to live in relative privacy.
What's wrong with that?
Well, because he's supposed to be out there among the...
Why?
Is
the world going to come to an end?
He's not out there. He's out there 188 times.
Sorry, only this year, Carole, he went to Centre Point.
Yes.
And he also did an event for mental health with the Duchess of Cambridge.
I don't understand.
It's only, what is it? We're only in January. He is out and about, but he's doing things that mean something to him, and I think that matters.
I think he's
a modern royal. Give him some autonomy.
I thought he was going to modernise the royals, but I don't think he has, because I think what he's done, I think he's been living in Amner Hall in Sandringham for he wanted, you're right, he wanted to bring his kids up there, and that's why he became the air ambulance pilot, so he could be based there.
Do you know why he moved there? And he's now moving back to London. Do you know why he moved there? He moved there when they started sending drones over Kensington Palace, and he started saying, how am I going to bring up my children with this degree of scrutiny by the media?
With the best will of the world, he's going to have to deal with it, because he has more privacy than the rest of the royal family, and he was born to do a job, and he's going to have to get used to it.
Why this venom for the prince?
But it's not venom.
It is venom. You're angry with how much the sort of lifestyle he enjoys. You're angry with the fact that he doesn't seem... Do you actually think the people viewing now... Do you think the people viewing now... Oh dear, I think this country's doomed because Prince William only did 118 jobs with it. They're absolutely relaxed about it.
Well, all my times writing a column, people got very angry at the kind of lifestyle he was living and not putting very much back into it. People get angry at the money they have.
This is part of my problem with the royal family. I respect people who support the royal family. I think it's an important part of Britain's identity.
Part of the royal family, I think, are very
part
necessary.
of the problem, and the reason it's kind of incompatible with modern society, is that you have these people that are born into it, have no choice over their lives, who live in this cage, get hounded by the press, have no privacy. Struggle to define their own destiny. It's completely incompatible with all of our ideas about meritocracy, about having freedom to choose in your life, about having a modern family, and we see it clashing over and over again. I don't blame Prince William for the choices he's making. I mean, I think that they're kind of messed up choices, and that's part of the problem of the whole design of the monarchy and why it doesn't fit in our age. But if you're a monarchist, Carole, which you said you are, you have to accept you can't have it both ways. That's how the monarchy is. That's how it works. It kind of doesn't make sense, and you just have to accept it.
Carole, do you think he actually had any choice whatsoever in giving up the air ambulance after his 2-year contract came to an end and deciding
he was offered a second contract and he said
I suspect, and I mean, if you've watched The Crown, you'll realise they're like pawns on a chessboard. They're moved around by somebody else, these royals, especially the younger ones.
That job was supposed to be a part-time job. It cost a lot of money to train him. It took almost 2 years for him to get operational. He's actually been doing it now for less than 18 months. And he's announcing he's jacking it in. All that money spent on that training for him, and he's walking away.
And he didn't want to pack it in.
He didn't want to pack it in. I'm sure Greg's right.
He loves flying helicopters. He didn't want to pack it in.
He doesn't do it very often.
He didn't want, because he got all sorts of other things, but he didn't want to, and the decision has been made. They'll move back to London, where he can do more public events. And that's the point.
But if he loves it so much, why was he only putting in...
I am so pleased that he found some time when his kids were little to be there and go, which a lot of us, I have to say, in life didn't do and regret as we get older.
Do you think if he suddenly did 350 jobs a year or whatever it might be, the public would say, oh, look at old William, he's a great bloke.
They say that about...
They
say that about the Queen. She does 350-odd jobs a year. They say that about her. They say it about Princess Anne. They say it about Prince Charles. He did 500-odd this year. So, yes, they do say it about people that they think are valuable.
I didn't know how many jobs any of them did until you brought it up this week, and I had to look into it. I mean, I don't think the average person is tracking how many jobs they do. If they were doing none, I suppose it'd be noticed. But as long as they're doing their royal thing...
The average person does track how many jobs. There's a list made every year
Carole,
about how many jobs they do.
I think we all know now on the pledge you're not the average person. And so I'm going to bring this to a close.
We should congratulate Carole. She's united four of us in a way I've never seen before.
I agreed with Nick.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
We've made it.
Queen Carole, thank you.